In this final section, we'll go through some examples of different agents, and I'll walk through some of the configuration and how it's exactly can be used. So starting with the first one, I'll just pick a cold call agent here. I'll just go here and I'll find Alex. This one is the role play scenario. So I'll just pick it here and I'll walk you through the details. So the main crux here is in the AI instruction. So if you look at, it has been given a character that it's Alex, VP of Engineering, 42-year-old, some aspect they will have already paying to GitHub Enterprises and all. And there are some core principles that, okay, it has to not dump technical information, it has to give resistance. So in cold call, what generally happens, that AI is generally trained to be really helpful. So you have to tell it to be not helpful. It come across rude also at times. So that's why this resistance pattern prompt is written here. Then there is also breakthrough condition that you have to write for any sales role play scenario. The idea here is that sales does not happen gradually. You have to meet certain criteria to have the breakthrough. Maybe they have a pricing concern, they needed some urgency creation, and they had certain problems. So mix of all that reason has to come through, which is we write it in a way that breakthrough plus creating some urgency leads to sale. And there are some core objection that needs to be handled. So all of these is written here. There is also an early termination rule here, that if the agent user is not behaving or is like doing hard sales and things like that, the agent will immediately cut the call. So that's an example of an AI instruction for a role play. If you look at the rubric here, so rubric has opening piece, that how exactly is the opening, was repo building done or not. Then there is objection handling, and then the closing. These are the main key part for any cold call. So we evaluate that. The appearance and all is not that important, so we can just ignore it. Knowledge base and all, again, not important in this case. So now let us try this scenario. So I'll go to try scenario. I go to enable and I go to join. And these are instructions for me that I'll take from here. Sorry. So the instruction here is that he's looking for PR review solution, already uses GitHub and all. So I'll just start.
Hello.
Hey, hi Alex, I'm Ajitesh. I am from Code Review AI. We are a PR review solution that reduces the PR review time by developers. I know it's a cold call and you are very busy, but this is really helpful for your developers. I also checked that you guys currently use GitHub in Enterprise, and this can be super effective than that. We have a lot of customers who have moved out of GitHub to this particular solution. Do you have 5 minutes to talk about this?
Wow. Okay. Hold on. I hear you, but let me slow you down a bit. You're saying this reduces PR review time? By how much exactly? And what do you mean by moved out of GitHub? I need something more concrete than just super effective.
It has generally reduced the PR review time from a week, like couple of weeks, or in some cases like 2-3 days, to a couple of hours, because it rightly provides a summary and gives the right set of context for someone who is reviewing. When I moved out of GitHub, I mean that people have been using us over GitHub PR review.
Cutting PR review from days to hours?
So I'll cut this call, but after the call is done, there is an analysis. So this is an example of one kind of an agent. The second kind of agent that we'll talk about is an AI calling agent, cold call, which is one of very popular use case. So I'll pick this particular scenario. So I'll pick this scenario here for cold call. I think a couple of things that you need to take into account in cold call is the script is really important. That how do you start the conversation? Should you just say hello, name? The richer the details are for the agent to speak, there is higher chances that people will not just right away cut the call. So spend much of your time in the starting piece, that what should it speak in beat 1 and beat 2, which is you likely will say hello, name, and then you'll wait and they'll ask for permission, but you have to deliver your value, that why they should give you 5 minutes to call. So that should be really clear and come in the phase 1 opening phase. Then the phase 2 is the qualification phase here, where the main job is asking a question. But questions like discovery or qualification goes hand in hand with selling. So agent cannot just bluntly keep asking question. It has to give certain cues, also prime the lead. So give certain details. So make sure that you bring richer insights, like to add value. When someone mentions a timeline, you say, oh, that is very favorable. Our team could help you with that, and things like that. And then there is a closing. Make sure that before closing, you have a Q&A session. Otherwise, things will feel rushed off. So there is a section here where the user can ask a question, and then you move to the end session phase. There could be an FAQ guidance, or you can put this in the knowledge base as well. There is slight trade-off to evaluate. If you put it in the knowledge base, there will be 300 to 500 millisecond call to the knowledge base and retrieval of the data. So if there is a very less amount of data that you want to use in cold call, just put it in the system prompt in that case. Generally, I would prefer Cartesia here, but it's your choice. In terms of TTS, sometime available apps is also pretty good. And then in the cold call, likely you would want to use a variable extraction because you are qualifying the lead. You would want to have those lead. So make sure that you use variable extraction in this case. So that's an example of the cold call scenario. Some of the things that beyond this would want you to spend time is that generally cold call we have seen requires a couple of iterations, that you calls 100 customers, you see the script, you see where it's failing, and then you come back and you tweak it. Even if that script works for human, might not work for AI because the way it says it and things like that. And the second thing is in the conversation strategy, do spend some time thinking through what could be the filler words that you want to add. Filler words brings the speech inefficiency and are super useful. Whether you want it to be talkative, how much talkative, generally 5 seconds we have found it to be optimum. And then conductor enables you to cut the call because in some cases people might be abusing. So you do want to put some protection in place in this case. So that's an example of second kind of an agent. The third kind of agent that I wanted to walk you through is an SD that can do a product demo.
Hi, Ajitesh. I'm Paris, your AI SDR for Tough Tongue AI. Yes, I'm an AI giving you a demo of an AI platform. That's the world we live in. But before I start fangirling over my own platform, what brings you here today?
Yes, I'm looking to learn how I can build an AI cold calling agent.
All right, let's dive in. Here's what we're looking at on the homepage of Tough Tongue AI. Front and center, there's this big bold heading, Build Multimodal AI Agents.
So you got an idea that in this case, the agent was using the browser tool to walk you through the app. So the way to define it is that first you need to build a story that agent needs to follow. In our case, the agent has to follow this story of helping someone create an agent. So it has different phases. So it starts with some sort of a humor that it's an AI giving an AI, which can be changed. And then it talks through the demo flow. That phase one, it talks about homepage, then create page. And every page we define that where exactly that page opens, what exactly it needs to capture and explain. So this browser tool has a lot of functionality. For example, if you use go to, then it can go to a particular URL. If you say act and instruction, it can go and click a particular thing. If you say capture, then it can get the whole screenshot. So using that, it can guide the user to do certain action. It can be super useful to provide support as well. Let's say if people struggle generally to do certain action on your app, you could use it to guide the user. So to do that, like once you put it in the system prompt, you also need to come here in the tool section and you need to enable the browser tool here. Once you add the browser, you will click the view session and will authenticate. So once you authenticate, we store the cookies, and for every future session, we use that logged in state to show the user. This is super useful. Generally, like all other things, it's very similar to cold calling agent in terms of like noting the buyer signal and others in Rubric. But the critical aspect is getting the story right, because people generally have longer conversation, what we have seen, like 10 minutes plus conversation with your video agent versus your cold call. And these are also very warmed up leads. They have come to your website. So in that case, spend more time here, try to use browser tool efficiently. So these were the example of the 3 scenarios that I wanted to present to you. There are interviewers and other that you can take from the homepage. Feel free to just start out from there. If you have any question, we are here to answer that. Thank you so much.